Hi folks, welcome back to another weekly market review for F45 trading. We are talking about the week from February 25th to March 1st. So it's not a lot of eventful stuff happening on the calendar this week. I'll bring over the news here for you to have a look at, but definitely a couple of high impact news events. We've got Bank of England Governor Carney speaking on Monday at 5 a.m. New York time, so just take a look at that one. And then we've got an FOMC speaker for the US dollar speaking a little later on Monday. Pretty quiet day for Monday. Tuesday, we've got obviously some US dollar news and some cable news, inflation hearings report. And then for the US dollar, we've got Fed Chair Powell and the CB consumer confidence. So those are both at 10 a.m. Those are pretty high impact, so I would expect a little bit of price fluctuation on Tuesday. Taking us into Wednesday, we've got some medium impact and one high impact Canadian dollar news event, which should move the markets on Canadian dollar fairly decently. And then we've got Fed Chair Powell speaking again, testifying, at 10 a.m. New York time, a little later in the day on Wednesday. And some more medium impact news events. We have an FOMC speaker on Thursday, some more USCAD news, and then advanced GDP numbers for the dollar. And then Friday is just pretty much some cable and some euro news to start off the trading on Friday, finishing up with some high impact Canadian dollar GDP numbers, and then a US dollar core PCE price index, personal spending, etc., etc. And then we have late in the day ISM manufacturing PMI. I shouldn't say late in the day, sorry. Mid sort of New York open on Friday. So all in all, a pretty decent calendar. A couple of higher news impact events that should move markets around a little bit. So let's jump into the markets here quick, into the charts and see what's happening. US dollar. Obviously, we had a bit of a gap here. This is, at the time of this recording, Sunday evening before markets get going on Monday. They have opened up and they have gapped down, as you can see here. And you see how price, we left a couple of highs up here. We jammed down, failed to get lower than this low here. So as soon as price, to me anyway, failed to get under here, we have a failure swing. Pretty big level of support under here. And I think there's a, very good chance that, and then we had another failure swing right here. Price came down sort of the middle of this down range in here and rejected. Very good chance that we could continue higher, but so far, again, and I've said this, been saying this for a very long time, we are still in this very long extended consolidation range. All of this is one giant consolidation. So what's it going to do this week? Probably stay in the consolidation range. What's it going to do next week? Who knows? We'll have to assess. But so far, we tried to make a run up not last week, I'm sorry, we were Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. 2 weeks ago, we tried to make that high in here at 97.20 and failed to do so and came all the way back down. Pretty big level of support in here, as I mentioned. So we're going to have to wait and watch and see. If price starts on the US dollar, starts to run lower, and we start to edge out this low here, this 96.10 level, then there is a very good chance we could see price end up coming all the way back down and potentially running down to the 95.60 level, 95.65 level. So just keep that in mind. But if we maintain this level, and see how it's coming down, it's wicking through, wicked once, twice, 3, 4 times. We gap down again. I wouldn't be surprised if they come down again, but I want to see what happens if they want to close lower than this 96.10. Because again, if they do, then chances are it's going to be a pretty quick run back down to 95.60 level. And where they could pick up some support and then try to make another run for those highs. I think ultimately we will get above these guys here, but again, until it starts to break out, let's make a clear run for something. It's sort of middle of the range right now, so it's a little tough to judge exactly where they want to go and what they want to do. Other than just consolidation trading, sell the highs and buy the lows, of course. So we'll have to keep watching this. So for this pair here, I'm going to be looking to see if these hold out. If these levels do hold out, then there is a good chance that maybe this week or maybe next week they could push and make one more run up here for the 97.20 levels and potentially even get above the highs, which are in here at 97.50. So that's the ultimate goal going forward. Again, but I'm not expecting this level up here this week or even into next week. Next week, we do have, obviously, non-farm numbers coming out, and some high impact news drivers. So maybe next week we could see them do that. But for this week and next week, early into next week, we probably just see more of this sideways price action. And I wouldn't even negate that they don't start to kind of come down into this level as well too. So we'll start to watch for that and see how that progresses. Euro, it's same idea. Unfortunately, we are still stuck in this big consolidation level, and price is just walking sideways. Same story as the US dollar. I was looking at this last week. I said chances are there's a very good chance that these two highs in here are going to get ran. And that's exactly what they did. And they did it early on in the week, and they stayed up there, and they wicked through it 1, 2, 3, 4. And so far, we're 5 times, including the market open here today, that price is up there now. So again, I mean, it looks like it's got some willingness to go up there, but it is hitting some level of resistance up there. I want to see what they want to do. Again, if we lose that lower level on the US dollar, the 95.65, or I'm sorry, 96.10 level, then there's a real good chance that the euro could pop up in here. And I'd actually be interested to see if they want to come in and trade the US dollar, the euro up to, let me get rid of this, up to this level in here, about the 1400 level. In my opinion, that kind of seems like a very, and I've talked about this level before, they typically work that level quite a bit, that 1400 level, so it wouldn't surprise me at all for them to come back up one more time. And really, if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, we're only about 60 pips away from there now. That's just one daily range to the upside on the euro USD. So you know, and like I say, we'll see sort of what happens if they really start driving the US dollar down. They could want to run this thing up and try to take out these highs here. I doubt these highs are going to be very realistic. We're going to have to get through and maintain the level above 1400 for that to happen. So if we get up there, then we can reassess, obviously, and we can, you know, clearly put a couple of levels on those, just to, you know, right there at 115.70 is the high level. But I don't think they're going to come up for those this week. Certainly not this week, and you know, again, depending on what the level on that dollar does, US dollar does, we'll see. But I doubt next week would be on the market for that either. So, but I wouldn't mind seeing this 1400 level hitting again. They got a lot of willingness to go up there, so we'll see what they want to do. And so far, it's two relatively equal highs right in here as well for these two candles. So again, there's a little bit of liquidity resting right above that area up in here, so we can basically just take this and move that up. So we'll see what they want to do there. I kind of like that as a quick little snap up to 113.70 and potentially a 30 pip run higher. So we'll sort of see if that one pans out. Pound dollar, we had a big run up here and then a big sell off, and again, you'll go back to older videos. I said this area here is going to get ran. They did that with a vengeance into 2 weeks ago, and then last week we traded very aggressively off that level, and I said that price is going to trade into the bottom of this consolidation level in here, and that's exactly what it's done. And then Friday's candle ran all the way back down and wicked back up, and now we've opened higher and gapped higher so far. Pardon me. So I'm not expecting this thing to come much lower. I think if it was going to do that, it probably would have stayed lower here. We might see a little bit of a drop down, a little bit lower going into the opening of the week, but I think it's going to be pretty minimal. And ultimately, I believe this 132.20 level on the week is probably going to get ran out, which isn't very far away. We're only about 130 pips away. Sorry, 200... minus a couple, yeah, about 130, 150 pips away, give or take. And so we're close. It's an easy stretch to get up there, and you can see, obviously, the bullish price action on cable. As of late, we had this big run up in here. Price cooled off a little bit, only to hit the exact level that I mentioned, and it skyrocketed up. So I'm expecting this to continue, and more than likely, we got this high in here. That was run out with this run higher there, and the next one on tap is going to be this high, obviously, and then I think it's just going to be like dominoes. They're just going to 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 right above and get up there. So I think that's where the pound is ultimately going to want to go. Probably don't want to be selling short on this guy. But that's sort of what I'm looking at. And at the very least, this guy here on tap for this week. USCAD, not much going on here. Again, we made a big high up here, lots of levels up there that we're looking at. And really it's just sort of been in a bit of a consolidation and kind of an erratic consolidation pattern, almost like a head and shoulders if you look at this. But it's not, because the right shoulder obviously fell off quite a bit. And now we're coming back down into these lows in here and starting to think about what we're going to do. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if this did run over and try to make a roll for this guy, and especially if we lose this 96.10 level on the US dollar, very real chance that they could pull the US CAD along with it. Not to mention, obviously, crude oil has been pretty strong lately, so it's probably going to pull this down a little bit more. And I mean, just pick your target down here. There's 100 different lows down here where I think they could rebalance price and get down there. But I think I'm just going to borrow this guy here, if I can. I think this level right in here is kind of got my eyes. Basically, this low right under here is where they could pull price down. Again, this was a pretty aggressive drive up and a very quick rebalancing lower. So if we lose this low here this week, then I'm not going to hold out for higher prices. I think they're probably going to end up running this thing lower. And again, especially if we get that drop on the US dollar, it'll pull this down, and especially if crude oil continues to drive higher. Everything's sort of weighting this guy down, and I would think there's a pretty good chance that this is going to get taken out. Now on the upside, if we lose this level in here, like if price starts jamming above 13200, then this is it. This is the low. They came back down. They rebalanced off of this consolidation level here, that support, and we're going to see higher prices, and maybe they'll take out this high here. But you can see how prices have really been falling off quite a bit, and so I think there's a very good chance that it's going to continue going into this week. UJ. So if US dollar is going to head down this week, which it could, it might not, I don't know, it's in a consolidation. If it does head down, though, it will push the UJ up. I've marked this 110.15 level on there just because it kind of got my eye. It's just basically retrading back off the old consolidation highs in here. And I think they want to run up for this 111.40 level. I think that could be on target for the week. So just keep that in mind. We had a nice big aggressive push down here and a nice run retracing back up. So I wouldn't expect for them to just roll this thing back over. Now, if the US dollar decided to just do an about face and bounce and try to for this 97.50 level, then yeah, all bets are off on UJ, and it's probably going to roll over and probably start taking out these lows and maybe even this low here. But that's some nice rejection down there, and there's a lot of areas back up here where I think they could run price. So I'm going to keep that on the chart and see if that comes to fruition this week. Australian dollar, same type of idea as the US dollar. We're just sort of sitting in consolidation right now. So until it gets out of here, I'm not really too interested on making too many calls on this, other than they did a big stop run down here, and you know, they're not looking like they're too willing to come all the way back down again, and so they could be triggering this thing to go higher. So we'll put this 0.7292 level on the chart, just this old high right here, and I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted to run it all the way up into even into about the 73.20 level. You know, wouldn't surprise me at all. So we'll see how that pans out this week. Again, it may not. We're in consolidation, so I would just expect more of the same for Aussie. And finally, crude oil. We are on a nice bullish momentum on crude oil. There's been lots of levels in here that I've been discussing. I said all week last week that we were going to run through the highs in here. We just popped in there on Friday. I'd like to see them rebalance a little bit lower, but I'm expecting them to continue higher. I believe we're probably going to end up trading up into this level in here, this 58.80 level. I think is going to be on the target for this week, and who knows, maybe even higher. If they really get a big push up, we could go much higher. Price, obviously, we came off of these lows here, consolidated for quite a lengthy time. Pretty much for the entire month of January, and it finally made the lows push down early February, and it's just been screaming up steadily higher. and we've had 1, 2, 3, 4 days so far of consolidation. So again, I'd like to see them just drip down just a little bit and capture some longs in here, maybe even rebalance under these lows here if we get a drop down. But I think 58 is going to be on the mark for this week. So that's all I've got to say. Unfortunately, guys, I am traveling Monday, Tuesday of this week, so I don't know if I can, for all of the members, I don't know if I can get in front of the charts to do a London Open, which I typically do that, but for the start of new London Open on Tuesday. So unfortunately, I'll try to play that one by ear. If I can do it, I will. If I can't, unfortunately, I won't. I'll have to reserve that for Wednesday, and I'll jump online there and give you guys a nice sort of walkthrough on Wednesday. But I'll try my best to do that, but I am traveling, and for the next 3 weeks, I'll be doing regular sessions, but just bear in mind I will not be in my office. I'll be actually taking a little bit of a vacation, and so I'll be on holiday hours, but I'm going to try to keep my regular schedule for for London Open sessions and these recordings, but just bear in mind they may be a little bit later or a little bit earlier, just sort of depending on what I've got going on. So that's everything. I appreciate your time. Hope you guys have a great week of trading, and we'll catch up to you via live video as soon as I get back in front of the charts. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.